Something happens to women when they hit 40 that nobody wants to talk about. One morning she's making breakfast, folding laundry, planning the family vacation. The next, she's downloading dating apps, buying lingerie, texting some guy from the gym. And you're standing there wondering what the hell just happened to your wife. Jordan Peterson discovered the neurological switch that triggers this transformation, and it's already flicking inside every woman between 35 and 45. The only variable is how much of your life burns when it detonates. According to Jordan Peterson, the human psyche is a fragile hierarchy built on a single foundation. For most women, that foundation is being desired. From birth, society drills the equation, value equals beauty. For 20 years it runs flawlessly. Men orbit. Compliments cascade. Dopamine circuits blaze. She feels immortal. Then biology, cold and mechanical, begins its withdrawal. Peterson's clinical maps show fertility peaking at 27, perceived attractiveness trailing. By 40, the mirror becomes a daily executioner. The face that once turned every head now negotiates for a glance. The body that made men stupid now earns polite smiles at best. This isn't vanity. It is identity collapse. Peterson compares it to a professional athlete whose entire self-worth is tied to physical dominance. Age arrives. Performance slips. The stadium empties. Now multiply that crisis by 10. Your wife isn't mourning crow's feet, she's mourning existence. The woman who rolled her eyes at catcalls at 22 now hoards a stranger's smile like oxygen. Why? Because your devotion is obligated. His gaze is chosen. Obligation produces no dopamine. Choice floods the nucleus accumbens like heroin. Peterson's data is brutal, the same compliment from you registers as background noise, from him, it's proof she still matters. And here's the hook that keeps men up at night, the moment she accepts invisibility, or declares war on it, your marriage dies. Most declare war. They rage against time. They buy the lingerie. They download the app. They text the trainer. Not because they're evil, because they're starving. Starving for proof they're not already ghosts. Jordan Peterson warned that panic is the most destructive human emotion. When a woman's panic is tethered to vanishing beauty, the first casualty is always the man who loved her when she had options. But the explosion doesn't start with the affair. It starts with a memory. And the memory has a name. Peterson discovered the precise neurological moment a marriage enters the danger zone, when nostalgia replaces gratitude. It begins innocently. She pulls out an old photo, smiles at a memory, mentions an ex, not with disgust, but with a flicker of warmth. That flicker is dopamine. That dopamine is a landmine. Peterson's maps of meaning reveal why. The brain doesn't archive the past neutrally. It weaponizes it. Every retelling strengthens the neural pathway. Every pathway widens the chasm between the life she has and the life she remembers, when possibility felt infinite, when desire was abundant, when she was the center of gravity. According to Peterson, female brain chemistry rewires itself with ruthless efficiency after 35. The reward system that made holding hands electric at 20 now demands seismic stimulation just to register a pulse. Romantic dinners. Neurological background noise. Weekend getaways. Routine maintenance. Intimate rituals perfected over 15 years. Invisible. She isn't bored, she's starved. Starved for the chemical cascade that once defined aliveness. And you, the safe husband, are the opposite of extreme. You are order. She now craves chaos. Peterson's clinical observation is merciless. The same woman who needed a glance at 20 needs an emotional earthquake at 40. Loyalty for 15 years becomes neurologically irrelevant. The devoted mother of 3 suddenly rationalizes cruelty because feeling trumps building. This isn't moral failure. It's desperation architecture. The brain, facing mortality, doubles down on short-term survival, novelty, validation, proof of reproductive worth. Your stable love can't compete with a stranger's text that says, "You still look incredible." That text isn't flirtation. It's oxygen to a drowning identity. Here's what Peterson uncovered in thousands of hours of therapy: married women over 40 are the most vulnerable demographic to seduction on Earth. Not because they're weak, because they're hungry. Hungry for chosen desire. Hungry for proof they're not expired. Your ring on her finger guarantees nothing. It guarantees obligation. Obligation kills dopamine. The random guy at the coffee shop who chooses to notice her. That's pure, uncut validation. One hit and the addiction cycle begins. She remembers what pursuit felt like. She remembers being someone's fantasy instead of someone's chore chart. And the worst part? She knows the game is rigged and plays anyway. Because the alternative, accepting the drought, is ego death. Jordan Peterson warned, panic plus entitlement equals destruction. The dopamine drought doesn't just strain a marriage. It ends it. And the fuse is already lit by the first nostalgic smile. He also discovered the accelerant that turns a slow-burning crisis into a 5-alarm inferno, the poison circle. It starts with Thursday wine nights. The guest list? Divorced women who found themselves. These aren't friends. They're dealers. Their product, you deserve better. Their currency, shared grievance. Peterson's clinical lens is unflinching: misery recruits. Every story of liberation is a sales pitch. Every, "I left and I'm happier," is a hit of ideological heroin. Your wife doesn't attend for fun. She attends for permission. According to Peterson, the human mind is a meaning-making machine, and meaning is contagious. One night she hears, "Life's too short to settle." The next week, "My ex never saw me." By month 3, your decade of support is reframed as suppression. Normal marital friction becomes abuse. Responsibility becomes sacrifice. The poison circle doesn't argue with reality. It rewrites it. And the rewrite always casts her as the prisoner and you as the warden. Then comes the digital accelerant, social media. Peterson mapped the algorithm's cruelty with surgical precision. It doesn't show marriages. It shows highlight reels. Transformation montages. I left at 42 and found love at 44. Curated lies. Filtered faces. Every scroll confirms the lie her panicking brain craves: everyone else is living better. It's not too late. The feed becomes her therapist, her preacher, her drug. She compares your behind the scenes to strangers' staged perfection. Reality loses every time. Society seals the deal. Peterson warned that modern culture sells women a toxic myth: feelings trump commitments. Happiness is a human right. Age is a suggestion. Magazines scream, "Find yourself." Therapists nod, "Never settle." Talk shows applaud, "So brave." Nobody mentions the children shuttling between homes. Nobody shows the woman alone at 45, realizing freedom is just another word for exhaustion. The empowerment industrial complex doesn't sell truth. It sells fantasy. And fantasy is crack for a dopamine-starved brain. Peterson's data reveals the pipeline. 1. Nostalgia plants the seed. 2. Poison circle waters it. 3. Social media fertilizes it. 4. Societal applause harvests it. And here is the result. A stable marriage becomes a prison. A good man becomes an oppressor. A family becomes collateral damage. And the scariest part, she believes the new story. Because believing the lie is easier than facing the truth, she's running from aging, not from you. Jordan Peterson discovered the precise second a marriage becomes unsavable: when fantasy acquires a name. Not men in general. One man. A coworker who notices her haircut. An old flame who slides into her DMs. A trainer who says, "You're killing it." Doesn't matter who. What matters is the face. Because now the drought has a faucet. Now, I could have options, becomes, he could be my option. And once that seed is planted, it metastasizes like cancer. According to Peterson, the brain doesn't register abstract possibility. It registers specific stimuli. A name. A voice. A recurring text tone. Each ping strengthens the neural circuit. Each circuit rewires her reward system. Suddenly, your goodnight kiss competes with a stranger's thinking of you. And it loses. Because you are predictable. Predictability equals zero dopamine. The new man equals novelty on steroids. Peterson's clinical files are a graveyard of this moment. 1. The church wife who swore, "It's just coffee." 2. The mother of 3 who said, "He's just a friend from high school." 3. The perfect couple where she claimed, "Nothing happened." Nothing happened is the operative word. Because the affair begins before the first touch. It begins with secrecy. She mentions his name too often. Or never at all. She angles her phone. She has explanations for questions you didn't ask. She's either picking fights, building justification, or eerily sweet, managing guilt. Both are pre-betrayal behaviors. Peterson calls it emotional kindling. One spark and the whole structure burns. Here's the hook that shatters men: she knows exactly what she's doing. She feels the pull. She sees the cliff. She steps anyway. Why? Because the fear of aging without one last adventure outweighs her love for her family. She rationalizes, "The kids will adjust. I wasn't happy. I deserve this." But Peterson's truth is colder: she's not running to him. She's running from the mirror. And you? You're just the reminder that time has passed. The specific man isn't better. He's new. New releases oxytocin like a fire hose. New makes her feel 25. New lets her pretend the clock stopped. And when the high crashes, as it always does, she'll either destroy your family to chase it, or crawl back carrying memories you can never erase. Society calls it courage. Jordan Peterson reveals the aftermath nobody films: the kids in therapy, the husband erased, the woman alone at 45 wondering why freedom tastes like ash. Peterson's clinical archives are a mausoleum of these stories. The devoted mother who traded family dinners for a bartender's compliments. The church wife who left her husband's best friend in the guest room. The woman who blew up 20 years for 3 months of passion at the gym. Every time the husband says, "I never saw it coming," Peterson's reply is brutal: "You saw, you just didn't want to believe." According to Peterson, the rewrite begins the moment she walks out. History is deleted. "We were never happy" becomes gospel. Love letters. Fabricated. Vacations. Performative. Every good memory is retconned into oppression. Why? Because admitting she torched a good life for a feeling would shatter her. So she casts you as the villain. He was controlling. He neglected me. I pretended for years. The kids absorb the lie. Dad becomes the stranger. Mom becomes the martyr. Peterson discovered the cruelest cut: the children don't care about her happiness. They care about predictability. 2 homes. 2 birthdays. 2 sets of rules. Therapy at 12 because mom needed to find herself. Christmas alone because the new guy didn't want baggage. The woman who swore they'll adjust learns too late: kids don't adjust to chaos, they fracture. 6 months later the high crashes. The new man is just another man. The passion was novelty, not depth. The freedom was isolation. She scrolls through old family photos and feels nothing. Because the dopamine circuit is fried. Peterson's warning is final: the excitement she chased was brain chemistry, not meaning. The butterflies were anxiety. The passion was addiction. And the family she destroyed is now irreplaceable. Here is Jordan Peterson's final discovery, and it will shock you. You cannot defuse her crisis, you can only survive it. 3 moves before detonation. 1. Recognize the wiring. If her identity is 80% beauty plus male gaze, the crash is coded in her psyche. No love fixes biology. 2. Document everything. Finances, texts, custody patterns. When she rewrites history, evidence is your shield. 3. Build the fortress. Separate accounts, therapy for kids, legal counsel on speed dial. Protect the children's future when her panic targets their stability. Peterson's closing warning: her leaving is not your failure, it is her inability to face time. You were collateral in a war against mortality. Survive, rebuild, teach your sons the truth, choose the woman who values character over chemistry, permanence over passion. The bomb ticks in every marriage built on validation. Walk away from the blast zone before it takes you with it. Here is what Jordan Peterson discovered that most men refuse to face. The woman you married at 25 no longer exists. The hormones, the options, the infinite future, they're gone. The 40-year-old wearing her face is a stranger governed by fear, not love. She will never admit, "I destroyed us because I'm terrified of aging." She will rewrite you as the prison guard so she can star as the liberated heroine. Peterson's legacy to every husband is: stop begging her to stay in a war she's already lost. Your job isn't to save her from time, it's to save your children from her panic. Build the life raft now, financial, legal, emotional, because when the explosion comes, sentiment sinks first. Here is one question I have for you. One day your son will ask why mom left. Will you have the courage to tell him the truth, or will you let society's lie destroy him too? Thank you so much for staying with me through this exploration. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who might benefit from it.